Yo, 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 what is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the Hall of Kings Q&A number 2, specifically for Roots of War. Now, what is Hall of Kings? Well, the Hall of Kings is the COD team's take on the Kingsguard that I do, where they have maybe like 20, 30, 40 or so people. I don't think it's an incredibly high number, but essentially it's alliance leads and or kingdom leads, representatives from those, and they put them into this channel. They each have a specific role, and then they'll ask them some questions and answers. And again, that's why we're getting the second Q&A, which is on a different area of the game, with this one being on ROW. So let's go ahead and take a listen, or I guess read through and see what they have to say. So in this Q&A, the producer reviewed the King's suggestions with care and answered some of the common concerns, questions, and feedback. All of the King's responses will contribute to the in-game survey and ultimately the update on row. Spectator mode and row practice matches. Oh my god. Oh my god. Am I burning? Are my hooves burning, baby? Because they might be burning. Allowing players to spectate row matches is definitely something we will be working on, as it will help share and spread the thrill and fun of row. Hallelujah. As for practice matches, we are also planning to introduce them to you in future game patches. Hallelujah. Both the spectator mode and the practice matches are currently scheduled to be released in the first half of 2025. By then, we'll have more specific introductions to the rules for the above new functions. Stay tuned. Shamana hamana hallelujah. Thank you. So, this is something that is already generating moisture around my body. And I say this because we have been advocating, and I know I've been advocating for this for a very long time, which, let me be very clear here. If these things were already available day one, or even on the first updates to row and surrounding the game mode, row would be not only so much more popular, but it would also be something where the quality and the skill level would be a lot higher. And you probably would see me covering matches in row. It's kind of impossible to do that, right? Again, as most of you know, unless you are in the alliance that is participating, and you go and spectate from there. Because remember, before you could not do that, right? When the way it started out is the only way you could go in and spectate a match or watch a match is if you were actually participating in it. Then they updated this to allow any member of the alliance that when that alliance is participating in row to be able to go and spectate that match. However, you still cannot watch matches. Like if I wanted to go watch Echo or EIS or NTS or whomever it is, go and play row. I can't do that. And so this is one of the most important things if you are trying to grow some kind of a competitive area. And a great example of this is you can go and spectate kingdoms. Now it is a little bit different. I will give them that. But you can still go and watch other kingdoms and other KVKs fighting in wars through their spectator, their observation feature, right? The next one here is being able to go into practice matches. This, I think, is of vital importance. One, now this is the way I look at practice matches. You need to be able to do this a couple different ways. You need to be able to go into a practice match, which is versus no one, because this allows for you to practice things like your openings. You can practice transitions. Then you need to be able to have a mode or a variation where you can practice against the AI, and then maybe you can have different difficulty settings. And this is more to get things like timings down. So again, if for whatever reason it may be. And then the next version, and it could be for more than that too, the next version would be being able to do scrimmages. So setting up scrimmages on maybe off row weekends. So again, rows every 2 weeks. So on the off weekend, maybe at minimum, and maybe you could do this more, right, if both teams agree, and you can just kind of set this up for a day and time that everyone agrees to, regardless of what it is. You lock that in, and then everyone shows up. That would be the best way to do it, right? And obviously, it would be excluding the row window. So you wouldn't be able to do any of these like scrimmages or matches, right? And the way that this would work is you would reach out, you would like set a match up, and then maybe like you would be the person who sets it up as like the captain of that match, and then another alliance or the king of that alliance or leader, R5, would search for it, or you could invite them and then they would accept, right? And then everyone sets up their teams, and then each person just clicks accept, right? So it's like you set up the day and time for it, and then you just have to make sure that you register your team for that scrimmage or practice match, let's say like an hour before it starts or whatever they do. That would be one way to do it. Again, I think, and then as far as the dates, again, maybe you do it on the off weekend or you just allow for them to choose. But the point is that this would allow for you to go and practice against other top teams, doing scrimmages where it maybe doesn't count. On top of which, and I'm shocked, and I don't know if this is going to be mentioned, but I don't think it probably will be, is leaderboards. This would be great if you had some kind of global leaderboard, and then it also showed match history. So a global leaderboard as far as wins and losses, which are win percentages, maybe total amount of points, right? You could have a leaderboard based on total points gained overall. Just being able to have something, and even if you just do it seasonally, for whatever it may be, and you run the season for maybe every 3 months, or maybe you do it every 6 months, or however long, that would be awesome. That's something that I wish that they would eventually add in. Next is about introducing pets into Row. We are aware that our players are very concerned about whether pets will be added to Row, and opinions are split. The reason why we have not brought them in the first place was that they were just introduced to the game when Row was under development, so we decided not to add pets to Row for fear that the just released pet system would hinder Row's development. Right now, as Warpets have been around for some time, we are planning to add them to Row. Interesting. But for the players who are worried that the addition of pets would make Row matchups lopsided, I think that's probably everyone's potential worry, or give certain alliances huge advantages, please rest assured, when Warpets are added to Row, we will take fair play into consideration and do our best to make sure that it will not cause one-sided matchups. Detailed rules will be announced in the future. We hope that pets will make Row more fun and intriguing, but not unbalanced and unrewarding. Thank you for your understanding. What I will say initially is I do think that it's a good idea that they did wait to potentially involve Warpets, and that's just because in the beginning stages of any time something is new and introduced, if there are any spending or pay-to-win mechanics that are associated with that new feature being introduced into the game, where you can spend to get any level of an advantage or a head start or get to maxing out whatever that is faster, yeah, it's not something that you probably would want to introduce right away because it could be incredibly lopsided. However, now obviously that there has been some time since Warpets have been introduced, is it maybe okay-ish to include them? The challenge here is that you would have to make sure, you would have to have, in my opinion, a better registration system that allows for more appropriate matchups that are going to factor in Warpets. Because you don't want a situation, if you think about it, the way that you're registering for time slots, right, to participate in Row is you have a couple days and you have multiple time slots across those days. If, for example, you had one time slot across each day, or you allowed for people to maybe match up on a weekend or select maybe more times that are available, right? But more importantly, because the thing, it's kind of two ways to do this. If you have more times available, let's say you could let's say you could set up a Row match every hour from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you could do something like that and you allowed for alliances to have a little bit more transparency on who is signing up where, and also maybe you're doing something where this matchup is your closest, right? Not only in power, but in Warpets, and there was just a little bit more visibility on those stats, it would make it easier, at least a little bit, to say, okay, well, you know what, let's go for this time slot now, because this is probably our most fair matchup that we can get. Otherwise, really just allowing to see which teams have gone to which time slots, I think would be the first best step, because if you need to be able to see where people are going for each time slot if you want to try and match up, or you allow for pre-pairings to be done, where again, maybe that's you reaching out to an alliance and you're saying, hey, we'd love to get matched up. Now, this is a little tricky because you could have a situation where you match up the same overall, but if they put a system in where there's a margin where you can't like take an incredibly overpowered matchup and you can't take an incredibly underpowered matchup, there could be something there. Otherwise, I just think, I think the first time that you're going to see row done with pets in, you're either going to get, I mean, obviously it's only going to be a couple different ways. It's either going to be a totally overpowered matchup, a completely underpowered matchup, or maybe you'll get lucky and it's a little bit even. But I just think having a way where you can have a little bit more transparency on that can help when it comes to the alliances deciding what slots they want to go to and or the matchups that they're going to be trying to seek out. But I'd love to know what your guys' thoughts are. For those of you that participate in row, like, do you think, okay, now is the time and it's all right for Warpets to be added, or no, maybe they should have waited a little bit longer? On the new map being less strategic, since the new map was released, we have been paying attention to players' feedback and have noticed that it does not appeal to players strategically. To help players gain a more strategic gameplay experience on the new map, internal discussions will be had and multifaceted solutions will be brought up, including making adjustments to the map, adding skills and more behemoths, etc. We definitely hope that in row, players can utilize their strategic mastery and brilliance in the battles to victories. Okay. Obviously, that doesn't necessarily go over too many things, but I think the most important ones probably are the adjustments to the map, adding some more skills and more behemoths. Okay. It would almost be interesting if you could... And again, let me point out, this is from me not watching too much row because there's just not a lot out there that I would probably, like matches I would want to watch. But at the same time, there's just not the easiest way for me to go and spectate things in game. But the one thing that comes to mind is if you could go out and attack a behemoth, and then whoever attacks it can maybe summon that on the field. And maybe that's already a feature in, fantastic. If not, that could be an interesting idea. I think adding more skills, does that mean that they're going to add in unique skills to row that aren't necessarily available for you out in KVKs in the open field or through rallies, etc.? Adjustments to the map. My thing with things like row maps is, you know, and this kind of is somewhat almost similar to what you would get out of maybe like a League map or a Dota map, etc. It's just being able to kind of provide you with, you know, everything you need. Like you're either just going to go symmetrical or maybe you'll go asymmetrical to an extent. But in most cases, I feel like these maps have to be symmetrical. But trying to give you something where like every unit type can be utilized. Sometimes that can be making lanes a little bit wider, right? Or certain paths a little bit wider. So maybe Cav can have a little bit more usage. Maybe it's allowing for flying to have some usage here and there. I think, to me, that always feels important when you're going to do something. Now, again, I don't know what the troop usage rates are as far as for which ones are the meta. In row, does Cav not get a lot of play? Does flying not get a lot of play? So those are things that, again, I'd love to be able to watch a bunch of matches and collect some data on and kind of look at how things are going. And then, again, spectate as just a PvP enjoyer, purveyor, if you will. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think on that. Last one, on the registration system. We have been and will continue to improve the registration system. We are very glad that you enjoyed the changes allowing each alliance to register 3 squads to take part in row matches. I think that has been a pretty well-received success. However, we have not gotten complacent and are looking for room for improvement from our observation and your feedback. Among the improvements that we are looking at, we can assure you that the future function that enables searching for player IDs or names during registration is currently scheduled to be added to the game in 1.0.35, so that's 2 updates from now. We'll also work on a plan to give you more time to sign up players for row. Again, I think those are just more quality of life changes, and I don't think, and I should say those appeal or appear to be good things, even though it will be a little bit of time until they come. But yeah, I mean, again, I've really been enjoying, I think overall I've really been enjoying these Hall of Kings Q&A, as if you want to say it feels a little bit more official-ish, and hopefully, you know, they're still trying to kind of add more people to the Hall of Kings, maybe, you know, again, depending on how big they really want it. But I do like that they're asking questions that are on different areas of the game, and the responses they're giving are a little bit more detailed, at least from how it feels, compared to maybe some of the standard dev feedbacks and general Q&As, which I appreciate. And I'm sure the kings that are there representing their kingdoms, or I should say kings or queens, that are there representing their kingdoms, hopefully appreciate it. So I'll be looking forward to the next ones. And yeah, I mean, again, I think overall, I really enjoy a lot of the answers they gave, and these seem like generally positive changes. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. That's going to do it for me. As always, until next time, we'll catch you later.